Hello, welcome to Bits in Biology. My name's Liz, and in this video, I'm going to play through Northwest. This is a 2 to 4 player abstract strategy game that plays in about 30 minutes. The movement and scoring rules are the same for both the multiplayer and solo games, so if you're wondering how it plays, this video should give you a good idea for both. I'm going to be playing through Mission 5 in Chapter 2 of the solo campaign, which uses the Campfire Tales cubes in addition to the memento cards and mountain blocks. The premise of Northwest is that you are documenting in your personal journal what you see while hiking through a Pacific Northwest forest, such as ferns and mushrooms, maples, Bigfoot. You will do this by collecting memento cubes from the shared exploration board, where the memento you collect on your turn determines the movement role for the next person. You then add your collected mementos to your personal journal, your player board, where they will score points according to where you place them on your board. The Campfire Tales cubes add a bit of push your luck and also a new memento, the Campfire, which has its own scoring conditions. The solo game adds memento cards that guide your adventure and mountain blocks that will make it increasingly challenging to move around the adventure board. I've heard through a comment in the Kickstarter page that the mountain blocks might also be incorporated into the multiplayer game, so that would be pretty awesome. There's also a solo campaign with 20 missions that get progressively more challenging as you work through them. Both the Campfire Tales cubes and the solo components are part of the new expansion, which is currently on Kickstarter as I am recording this. And while I was sent a prototype of the expansion to try out, I was not otherwise compensated for this video. I really just love Northwest, and I'm excited to share the expansion with you. So let's go down to the table and I'll show you how to play Northwest. Here we are, pretty much set up for a solo game of Northwest, and even though this is a solo playthrough, keep in mind that much of what I do in the solo game looks a lot like the multiplayer game, and in fact, really the only difference is I will be restricted in which memento cubes I have a choice of on each of my turns, and that will be dictated by which cards are visible on my summit. In addition to that, these mountain cards will pop up occasionally and I'll have to place these mountain blocks onto the board. They're going to make it increasingly more difficult to make my way around the board as the game goes on. I did see in a post on the Kickstarter page that it is possible that these mountain blocks are also going to be integrated somehow into the multiplayer game. At the moment, with the rules that I have available to me, which is before the release of this game, the mountain blocks are not incorporated into the multiplayer game, but I'm pretty excited to see if they're going to be able to do that and what they're going to be able to do, because they really add an exciting element to the game and it just looks really cool. They look really cool on the board. All right, so we are playing through Chapter 2, Mission 5. The first 4 missions were in Chapter 1, and I played through, in my previous video, I played through Chapter 1, Mission 1. So we are playing through Chapter 2, Mission 5. Chapter 2 is Embers of the Hollow, and Mission 5 is called First Sparks. Now, I am not actually going to read the introduction to this mission because I don't want to spoil anything for you. As you make your way through the chapters and missions, you're actually making your way through a story. And so I will leave that for you to discover. But this is the first mission in which we are playing with the Campfire Tales cubes. So I just wanted to show you how that works. So our memento cards in Chapter 2 are 4 mushrooms, 3 maples, 3 ferns, 4 bees, and 2 Bigfoot. The mountains that we are playing with for Mission 5, we removed Mount Stewart and the 3 Sisters, and that leaves us with Mount Hood, Mount St. Helens, Mount Olympus, Mount Rainier, Mount Shasta. Our points goal is 38 points, and we have a couple of restrictions this time. Mountain blocks can't share sides on the board, so that's going to limit how we can place them. And on top of that, Mount Hood not only can't share a side with any other mountain blocks, it can't even share a corner with any other mountain blocks. And so that is our additional restriction. So we have 2 restrictions on our mountain blocks. We are starting with a pine cone because we are playing with the Campfire Tales cubes. And so the only thing I have left to do here is to set up our summit. And I'm not going to go through detailed rules because I already did that in my previous video, but basically what we're going to do is shuffle these cards, and I'll do a better job of that and then come back to you. And we're going to shuffle up the mountain cards separately, and then I'm going to build a summit where there will be one mountain card in each row, except for the top card. And these will be spread out across each mountain. It's going to look like a pyramid. It's our summit. All right, here we have our summit all set up. We have 6 rows that are 1 fewer each level you go up. We have 6 cards in this first row, but remember we first have to take care of our mountain. Every time we see a mountain card, we must immediately place our mountain cube. All right, now that we're set up, I just want to point out a couple things about the Campfire Tales cubes. One is that we have a new symbol. It's this campfire here. And as far as movement goes, on my next turn, I will be limited to moving. Now, I can move in any direction, just like the mushrooms, diagonal or orthogonal. However, I must move 2 spaces, 2 cubes, instead of just 1. The other thing about the Campfire Tales cubes is if I do choose one of these, I have the option to re-roll this for free and choose to keep that, or I can spend pine cones to re-roll it again, and I can do that as many times as I can afford to pay for it and that I want to. Or I can just put it on my board with whatever symbol was face up. And as far as scoring goes, the campfires are going to earn me at the end of the game 1 point for every unspent pine cone I still have, and 1 point for every empty space on my board. Now, at the end of the solo game, if you have any empty spaces on your board, you did not finish the mission, because we need to make it through this entire summit, all 16 of the memento cards, and I have 16 spaces on my board. So hopefully I won't have any empty spaces at the end, because, well, that means that I didn't quite finish. All right, so I need to start at a mushroom, and I'm going to need to place Mount St. Helens right away. So let's see. Also, keeping in mind that in this mission, I have 4 bees. Now, the least numerous cubes, I can't remember the counts. Maybe I'll put them up on the screen right now. But as far as cubes go, not including the Campfire Tale cubes, the least numerous are the Bigfoot and the bees. I can't remember if they're equal or not. And the most numerous are the mushrooms. The maples and ferns fall somewhere in between. So given that I have 4 bee memento cards in here, I probably don't want to get rid of any bees, because that will leave me very limited. So, and that leaves my options. Man, there are a lot of bees on the outside edge. All right, well, since in the solo game, I'm unlikely to end up with a lot of pine cones at the end of the game. I mean, I could, but I use these a lot in the solo game. I'm going to start with this mushroom here. Now remember, in the solo game, this gets discarded. In the multiplayer game, it would go on my board. And I replace that mushroom cube with the hiker. And now I need to deal with this mountain right away. So I find the matching mountain block, and I'm going to place that. It has to go with one of these, at least one of these spaces, on a space orthogonal to where the hiker is right now. And so I probably shouldn't be getting rid of a Bigfoot, but there you have it. I'm going to put Mount St. Helens right there. And if you watched the first video, you'll know I have a story about Mount St. Helens, but I'm going to try and get through this playthrough relatively quick, so not as much sidetracking. We'll see how that goes. I'm pretty good at getting sidetracked. Anyway, we will discard that over here. Now, since I removed a mushroom as my first move there, even though it got discarded, my movements that I'm limited to are mushroom movements. So I can go 1 space in any direction. I need to get one of these memento cards, and I probably want to plan at least a couple moves ahead. So, and I want to try and get some pine cones. If I come over here to this mushroom and take that, oops, that was a pine cone. I'm causing earthquakes all over the place. We used to do earthquake drills in school, and where we would have to hide under our desks and put our hands over the back of our neck. We'd curl up into a little fetal position. I don't know if they still do that. I grew up in Seattle. I don't know if they still do earthquake drills or not. All right, see, already going off on tangents. All right, so I picked up a mushroom. I got my pinecone cube, and I lift this up. Oh dear, this could be a mountain. Now remember, we are limited into how we can place our mountain blocks. They can't share sides. So take this mushroom here. What does this say? The Death Cap and Destroying Angel, not heard of that one, are two of the world's deadliest mushrooms, and they grow right here in the Pacific Northwest. All right, let's see. Oh, thank goodness it's not a mountain. I was kind of thinking we wouldn't run into a mountain right away again, but actually that's not true, because as we uncover cards, any of those could be a mountain, and anytime a mountain shows up, we have to deal with it right away. All right, so we need either maple, bee, fern, or Bigfoot. And I picked up a mushroom, so I can do mushroom movements. Well, let's just go for the Bigfoot, since I'm trying to show off the Campfire Tales cube. So we played this, our family played this the other night with the Campfire Tale cubes. We actually played it a couple nights. And everybody had such a blast with these Campfire Tale cubes. They just were re-rolling them, whether they needed to or not, unless they absolutely needed what was showing on the face. But let's just see what we get. Oh, we got a bee. That's awesome. It's a little riskier in the solo game to re-roll these, but unless it came up a mushroom, then, I was going to be okay. All right, so, except I hate placing bees around the edge. Oh, well, I guess we're going to do it. All right. Bees score 1 point, if you recall, 1 point for each different memento cube that is around them. Now, that actually does not include campfires, because bees don't like campfires, and it doesn't include other bees, because apparently these are solitary bees. And remember, every time I place a cube on my board, it has to be orthogonally adjacent to another cube that I have already placed. So I'm going to place that bee there and put this card here. This says, leafcutter bees cut perfect circles out of leaves to build their nests, but don't actually harm plants. Leafcutter bees are real cool. I'll put pictures up of these whenever it's appropriate to do so. Okay, so next up we need to get either fern, maple, or Bigfoot. And I probably want to uncover another card, and it might be a mountain, so I kind of want to be near the edge of the board. I just picked up a bee, so my movement for bee is like the knight in chess. So over 2, down or up 1, or any variation of that. So actually I can go for this maple and get a Campfire Tale cube. Or not a Campfire Tale cube, a pine cone. Oh my goodness. And so pick up my pine cone. Ugh. And we're going to, so maples want to be diagonal to other maples. So I'm going to put, what do I want to do? Maybe I'll put this here, because if I put it here and then I put another maple here, it's going to be harder to get the diversity that my bee wants for scoring. All right, let's pick up this maple. We could reveal a mountain card. What does this say? In the fall, vine maples put on an amazing color show, turning bright red, orange, and yellow. I lived on the East Coast for a little while, and man, talking about leaf shows, they have leaf season out there. Now, I did not live in New England, where I've heard it is amazing, but I lived in western North Carolina near the Appalachian Trail. All right, we have more bees. Let's see. So I picked up a maple. I have to move diagonal. I could get another maple and get another pine cone. That's a pretty good deal. I won't be exposing another card there. We know one of these 3 cards is indeed a mountain. I guess I will do that because pine cones are really valuable. So let's get another maple. Oh dear, I kind of didn't want to do that. Is that going to work? We have 1, 2, 3. We still could get 3, 4. Okay, let's keep with it. I do get a pine cone, so that's great. And I pick up the maple card. This says, big leaf maples have some of the largest leaves of any maple tree, reaching up to 2 feet across, which is amazing. All right, so now we have 2 maples. Now I can't remember how many we started with. It was either 3 or 4, I think. I'll put it up on the screen. We need bee, fern, or Bigfoot. Bee, fern, or Bigfoot. I can't, so I had a maple. I have to move diagonal. I could get a mushroom or a fern, basically. So let's go for the fern, so I don't have to spend a pine cone. And we'll put our fern here. Ferns want to be orthogonal to other ferns. Mushrooms don't care where they are on the board. They'll score a point each. In the multiplayer game, also the person who has the most mushrooms at the end of the game will score a mushroom bonus equal to half of their number of mushrooms rounded up. In the solo game, that doesn't apply. All right, so we took a fern, so we will take that. This says, Bracken ferns are some of the most widespread ferns in the world and have been around for over 300 million years. I wonder what their lifespan is. I'll have to look that up. Okay, so we reveal this card. It could be a mountain. It is not. More bees. Okay, I took a fern so I can move one space orthogonal. Oh, we do have access to a bee. Okay, that's great. What happens after we take that bee? We could move to this mushroom. We can't move to a blank space unless we spend a pine cone to move away from it. Oh, we would have access to a Bigfoot. That's great. All right, so let's go for that bee, since that's my only move without spending a pine cone. And bees don't count for other bees, so let's put that bee down here. Is that okay? Yeah. All right. So we'll put that bee there, and we will, collect that bee. And this says, unlike honeybees, most native bees are solitary and don't make honey, but they're still essential for pollination. I believe that is true throughout the United States and actually throughout North America, but I'll have to double check that, let you know on screen. Okay, so that was a bee, and then we decided we're going to go, down 1 over 2. All right, so then we'll go for Bigfoot over here. Now, Bigfoots are interesting in that in order to score, they can't be adjacent to another Bigfoot, either orthogonally or diagonally, and they also can't be in the same row or column. And our son, who plays chess, said that in order to have optimal placement, in case you were wondering, of your Bigfoots, you would have to place them like the knights in chess moves. So apparently, I haven't actually worked it out, but I think you can get 4 Bigfoots on your board if you do that. You'll have to check it out and let me know. I have not verified that information. But it gives you a little insight into how his brain thinks. I think I want to put this here because then I could put a maple here and ferns can go over here. Although, actually, it would be nice to put this next to a bee. That's probably not a great place for a Bigfoot. I have 2 Bigfoots in there, so yeah, that'll actually work. I just can't put it here, 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 or here. So my other Bigfoot has to go on one of these 4 spaces. So we need to remember that. Okay, so I took a Bigfoot, and this says, many Native American tribes in the Pacific Northwest have stories of large, hairy, wild men in the forests long before modern Bigfoot legends. This is actually true all over the world because, we have to tell stories about big, scary monsters to keep the children at home and out of danger, right? Oh dear, so now I'm not at the edge of the board, I'm closer to the center, and one of these will be a mountain. So let's see what we get. We get maples and we have Mount Rainier. So, oh my goodness, we have to place this big mountain block. Actually, we could do that. That wouldn't be too bad. We are covering up a bee, but we do already have 2 of our 4 bees, and we have a couple bees over here, bee here, so 2, 3. They are close to the edge, which is where I like to put my mountains. We do have a bee here we could go after, and one up there. Maybe. Oh, either way, we're going to get a bee. Could do this. That might be better, but then it's actually a little challenging to get up here because then if I got this bee, how would I even get up there? Oh my goodness. I'm just going to stick with my first instinct. So I do have to discard those cubes where I put my mountain. Now remember, our mountain restriction is they cannot touch on their sides. And additionally, when we find Mount Hood, Mount St. Helens was my discard. What did I do? Oh, there it is. Losing my mind. When we place Mount Hood, it also cannot touch diagonal to other mountains. So there's that. All right, so discard Mount Rainier, and we did not uncover another card. So we're restricted to maples and bees. With Bigfoot, I can go anywhere in this row or this column. So I need either a maple or a bee, and I need to have access to one of those afterward because I don't know what's coming up. So we do have maple and a bee. Ooh, and that bee has a pine cone. And afterwards, we would have access to another bee, a Bigfoot. We do need one more Bigfoot that should be coming up soon. I don't know, any of the last 4 rows. Or here, I might have to spend a pine cone if I go there because that one doesn't have access to a maple, but this maple does have access to a bee. So, and it has access to, ferns, bee, and ferns and a bee. And let's look at here. Oh, we have a maple with a pine cone there, and that would give us access to another maple, a mushroom, another mushroom, and a fern. There is, well, there's 2 bees, but I would have to spend 2 pine cones to get there. Now, you can spend pine cones to take 1 extra movement, but that extra movement has to be in an orthogonal direction. I guess that does actually give me some diversity, so we will uncover 2 cards if we do that. One of them could be a mountain, so that's not great because we'd be covering up stuff. I mean, we just have to assume it's the big one, right? Because that's worst case scenario. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's B number 3. Oh, I could put that. Nope, don't want to put it in a corner. That's a terrible idea. Oh man, we do not have a great place for that bee. So I guess we want to go for a maple. Let's just do it. Let's go for this maple that has a pine cone on it. So we'll take a pine cone. Now I kind of want that campfire. Let's see. So this wants to be diagonal to another maple. Now I could put it here. That's not great for that bee. This bee already has 1, 2, 3 different things around it. This bee has 1, 2, 3. Oh, this one already has, well, good thing it has 4. It's already surrounded. So maybe I'll go there. We decided our Bigfoot has to go either here or here. This bee needs a mushroom adjacent to it is what it needs. And this leaves this space open for maybe more ferns because I can't remember how many ferns we have. Forgetting. I'm pretty sure we had 4 mushrooms. Now I have another bee. Could put a bee here, and that would give me already 2 different things. Yeah. Okay. So that was my maple. I took my pine cone. Let's put, oh, what does this say? We didn't read the Bigfoot one. No, yeah, we did. All right, maples. Maple flowers may be small, but they're a great early season food source for pollinators like bees. Every one of these cards has something different on it, different piece of information. All right, let's see what we have. We did get a, oh my gosh, it is the big one, worst case scenario. All right, so we have to deal with Mount Shasta right away. Oh dear. We're going to have to place 1 more Bigfoot, so we need to have them available. I've already discarded 1, so we have 1, 2, we have a couple over here, so that's not bad. 2 right there. Oh my goodness. And we can't be orthogonally adjacent to that mountain. So it has to touch one of these 3. Oh no, I could touch this space, but only if it goes towards the middle of the board. That wouldn't be ideal. Let's see what we have. Well, if we do that, we don't get rid of that. We do get rid of a bee, but I think we're doing okay on bees. There's a couple over here. We did leave 1 up here, 1 over here. So actually, nope. Oh yeah, don't want to do that. Nope. Yeah, that would get rid of a lot of things we need. Okay, we're just gonna get rid of another campfire. Oh man. Okay, getting rid of a maple, a fern, 2 maples, 1 of our campfire cubes. You can't see all of my discards, but they're over there. Here, I'll let you know which ones are campfire cubes. How's that? So we picked up, oh, that was placing Mount Shasta. This says, I haven't been reading these. Mount Shasta is a potentially active volcano that rises so dramatically from the surrounding landscape that it creates its own weather patterns. Mount Rainier said Mount Rainier has the largest glacier system in the contiguous U.S. with 25 major glaciers holding more ice than all the other Cascade volcanoes combined. And then we had Mount St. Helens, which is famous for its 1980 eruption, which I do remember, which was the most powerful volcanic explosion in U.S. history and reshaped the mountain, blowing off its entire summit. Okay, sorry, I hadn't been reading those. Okay, so we need either mushrooms or a bee. We took a maple, so we can go diagonal, and thank goodness we can get a mushroom. Now, here's the thing. If I get a mountain while I'm stuck over here, which is totally possible, that could be a mountain, I would have to spend a pine cone to get out of there. Now, I do have a lot of pine cones, and that would give me a pine cone. Could come down here. Can't get a maple. That mushroom wouldn't be too bad, but then I would also be pretty restricted in where I could. Oh dear, what do we have left? Oh, no, because if it were Mount Hood, then I'm doomed because it can't even touch on the corners. So could be Mount Hood. So I guess we're just going to come over to this mushroom because I don't want to be doomed to losing. So we took a mushroom and we wanted that to be touching this bee somehow. So maybe right there, right? So now it has 4 different things around it. So it's going to get its maximum score. Our mushroom says the Pacific Northwest is home to over 5,000 species of mushrooms, making it one of the most diverse fungal regions in North America. Because, it does rain there all the time. There are many different words for rain in the Pacific Northwest, which I have discovered in Colorado is absolutely not true. Oh my goodness, we need a bee. Oh, and we have access to a bee. That's great. I hate it when we only have one choice over here. But we do have access to that bee. And if we get Mount Hood, we do have places we can put it that are not ideal, but they are places we can put it. So is that the bee I want? I could. Oh, no, it would. Let's see. I guess I could try and make it over to this bee. And then what would that leave me? Another bee, which is great, which is not something this bee leaves me. So actually, let's do that. I'm going to move diagonal 1, and then I'm going to spend a pine cone to come over here to this bee and place this bee. Didn't I say I wanted it right here? We could put a mushroom here, and if I put a fern there, I would have to put my Bigfoot over here for sure. So, because I could place how many ferns do we have? Remember, I hope it's 4, because this would need a fern and a mushroom next to it. And in order to score the ferns, they have to be orthogonally adjacent to another fern. Oh my goodness, I'm hoping we had 4 ferns. I guess we'll see. So that was one of our bees. Do I want to, is this a mountain? What was that? That was our mushroom, right? Yeah, so these could be mountains. Well, one of these is a mountain. One of those is a mountain. So, and it could be Mount Hood. So those are the 2 we have left, right? We've placed all of our mountains. Yep. And, oh, there's this bee over here. I just placed a bee. So, I was thinking, do I want to lift that up? Yes, let's do that. I just placed this bee, and so I could on my next turn come over to this bee, and right now if I got Mount Hood, I could put it right here or right here, but I kind of don't want to do that. And if I got whatever mountain this goes to, I can't remember, I could put it over here, although that gets rid of a bee, or see, it can't be, it could be diagonally adjacent, so I could put it here. Okay, we are good. So I am going to lift up this bee. This says mason bees don't live in hives like honeybees. They nest in holes in wood or hollow stems and are incredible early season pollinators. Okay, so ferns and ferns. I guess we did already get the mountain. Okay, I guess I didn't remember that. So we can get ferns or bees. I think we need to get this bee before we have to cover up bees. Or bees. So I can go here to the mushroom, here to that bee. Oh, I could go to that bee. Then I don't want to re-roll it just yet. So let's come over to this bee. Afterwards, that does get me up here to a fern or a Bigfoot. We won't uncover a Bigfoot. So it does get me to a fern afterwards. So let's do that. We'll take this bee and, oh dear, what were we going to do with this bee? Bees don't count for other bees. If we put it here, we would put a Bigfoot here and a fern here. And this one will still get 4. This one already has 4 points. Okay, fern, Bigfoot. 2 ferns, mushroom. I don't know what we have left. I can't remember. I played through all 4 missions of Chapter 1 and I knew what I had, but this is the first mission in Chapter 2 and my first time playing this mission, so I'm not exactly sure what we have. So there you have it. Anyway, this says bumblebees are some of the best pollinators in the Pacific Northwest because they use buzz pollination, vibrating flowers to release more pollen. That's pretty cool. All right. So we've placed all 4 of our bees? Yes, we have. I remember we had 4 bees, and we have 2 Bigfoots, and we had a lot of mushrooms. So, okay. So which one do we want to lift up? Do we want to... We know one of these 2 is a mountain. I think I want to reveal that because if it is Mount Hood, I can put it right here, and that would be great. So let's do that. I didn't just place a fern, did I? I just placed a bee. I need to go for a fern before I can place that fern. Okay, here's my fern. That was my plan. In my head, I already went there. We're going to place that there, right? It's going to be another fern. We wanted it to be a Bigfoot. I don't know how many ferns I have. Okay, well, we'll see. Lady ferns are commonly found in the Pacific Northwest and were historically used as a natural bandage for wounds. That's interesting. I'm still stuck on, I'm worried I only had 3 ferns, in which case I want that to be a fern, and then this bee will only score 3 points. But if I don't do this, that only loses me 1 point on the bee. If I don't have a fern orthogonally adjacent to another fern, then it loses 2 points. But if I have 4 ferns, then one's going to end up over here. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, Bigfoot. Great. That was a fern. I need to go orthogonally adjacent. Oh no, I don't want to re-roll that. Campfire cubes are tricky in the solo game. Oh my goodness. We had a lot of fun with them in the multiplayer game because we re-rolled them to see what we would get. It was pretty fun. My mom had a blast with them. They made her laugh. That was great. Okay, well, Bigfoot or fern? I need to go orthogonal. I don't have any ferns orthogonal. I will go for Bigfoot, and I'm going to leave this on Bigfoot. And I'm going to put, I'm going to want to put Bigfoot here, and I hope I don't have 4 ferns. I might go look. I'm going to go look. All right, so I had to get up and look at the computer. We have 3 ferns in here. So that is our last fern. We do want to put it here, so we definitely want to put Bigfoot here. This means that this bee is not going to score its full points, but that's okay. So that was Bigfoot. And this says, there's even a Bigfoot trap in the forests of southern Oregon built in the 1970s to catch the legendary creature. It's still standing today. Of course it is. I'll put a picture of that up. I've never been there. I think that's pretty interesting. I only found out about that by playing this game. But I'll put a picture up on the screen. All right. Ooh, we have another mountain. Mount Olympus. Ooh, so we know Mount Hood is last. We're really going to have to plan for that. That was our last Bigfoot. We have our 2 Bigfoots. We have our 3 maples. That is our 3rd fern. We have all our bees, so I guess we have 2 mushrooms left. Yeah, 4 mushrooms. Okay, that's great. This bee's only going to get 3 points. Oh, I don't think we're going to hit our 38. We'll see. All right, so we need to place Mount Olympus. Are we going to have enough mushrooms? I usually don't have to worry about mushrooms. Yeah, there's plenty of mushrooms on the board. Or I guess we could do that. No. Yeah, let's just do this. Discard those 2 mushrooms and go like that. And that leaves us plenty of space in the middle for Mount Hood. This says Mount Olympus is the highest peak in Washington's Olympic Mountains and is so rugged and remote that parts of it weren't fully explored until the 20th century. I'll put the elevation of Mount Olympus up on the screen. All right, so the last thing we picked up was a Bigfoot, so we can go anywhere in this row or this column. And we are looking for a fern, and we have one right here. So I guess we'll go right there. And if we uncover, let's see. Nope, we won't uncover a mountain because I think this was Mount Olympus. All right, so there's our fern. That goes right there. Now all our ferns will score all their points. And this says sword ferns are one of the most common ferns in the Pacific Northwest and can grow up to 6 feet tall. Wow, that's amazing. 6 foot tall fern. Wow, that's taller than me. My son's now taller than me too. Fun fact. All right. I thought that wasn't going to be a mountain. Okay. That is Mount Hood. So I can put it in one of these 3 spots. I can't put it here. All right. What does this say? Mount Hood is the most climbed glaciated peak in North America, with thousands of adventurers summiting it each year. Sounds a little crowded. All right, we have to place this before we turn over that next card. I know I'm looking for 2 mushrooms, so I don't need that maple. What does that leave me? And I just picked up, I just picked up a fern, so that means I'm going to be able to go orthogonal in any direction. Those are 2 mushrooms right there. That mushroom doesn't get me another mushroom. That mushroom doesn't get me another mushroom. So either way, I'm going to have to spend a pine cone. If I come here, then at least I can make it over here. So yes, let's put Mount Hood down there off by its lonesome. I have to look up the geography of Mount Hood to see why that is. Did this give a hint? Most climbed glaciated peak. I wonder if it rises up on its own. I'll put a map up. Okay, so mushrooms, we're not surprised about that. We are coming, let's see, we took a fern, so we go orthogonal up to that mushroom and put it there. And we say, this says, unlike most places, the Pacific Northwest has mushrooms growing year-round, even in winter. And that also goes along with, didn't our other mushroom cards say that it has the most? Yeah, it's home to over 5,000 species of mushrooms. It's because they grow all year, right? It's a pretty mild climate there because they're next to the ocean, and the ocean holds a lot of heat that it can release over the winter. Okay, so we need 1 more mushroom. I can move 1 space in any direction, and then I'm going to have to use a pine cone to move 1 orthogonal space. Kind of wishing that I had taken a campfire now. Oh, I can't take a campfire. Interesting. You can't take a campfire in the... I wonder if I missed something in the rules. I guess if I did, I'll put it on the screen right now. Oh, wait. That wasn't... I didn't mean to get a maple. Oh, right, because I spent a pine cone. Did I spend a pine cone? Oh, dear. Yeah, well, I can't remember, so there's a pine cone. And pick up this mushroom, but the mushroom gives me a pine cone. Put that there. And our last card, we made it to the summit. The honey fungus in Oregon's Malheur, I'm probably saying that wrong, National Forest is the largest living organism on Earth, stretching over 3.8 miles underground. Wow. Does that include aspen? I thought aspens were. I'm going to have to look that up. Because, you know, when you see an aspen grove, those are all pretty much clones of each other. There would be one mother aspen, and they spread underground. And let me tell you, our neighbors planted aspen. Thankfully, new neighbors moved in and removed them. But we did already have a couple of aspen, what do you call them? Seedlings, I guess. Well, no, they wouldn't be seedlings, clones. Anyway, sprout up in our yard. And we were quite alarmed because my partner's mom has a neighbor with aspen, and she is every day has to be out there pulling up aspen. They have a name for them. Guess I'll put that up on the screen. Yeah, I don't remember. Okay. Anyway, honey fungus. Wow, that's amazing. Regardless of whether it's bigger or smaller than an aspen grove. Okay, we made it to the summit. We filled our board. Now we just have to see if we made it to our 38 points. Just in case you're wondering, I have all the scoring memorized, but there is our scoring that we're working towards. And here's our score pad. And this was solo. And chapter 2, mission 5. Remember, missions 1 through 4 were from chapter 1. All right, mushrooms. We have 4 of those, so those are worth 4 points. No mushroom bonus in the solo game. Ferns are worth 2 points each if they are orthogonally adjacent to at least one other fern, so we score 6 points for our ferns. Our maples score 2 points each if they are diagonally adjacent to at least one other maple. And oh, look at that! All of our maples earned us pine cones. That's pretty interesting. Anyway, they earned their full points, 6. Our bees were not so lucky. So this bee has 4 different things around it. Let's see, mushroom, fern, maple, Bigfoot, so that's 4 points. This bee, fern, maple, Bigfoot. Oh, I didn't get a mushroom next to that one. Oh yeah, I did. Down here. I got a mushroom down here. Okay, so this one's worth 4 points. So we have up to 8 points now. This one is only worth 3 points because it has a fern, a maple, and a mushroom. Remember, bees don't count for other bees. And so now we're up to 11 points, and this bee has 1, 2, 3, just 3 things because it doesn't have a fern. So we're up to 14 points for our bees. We'll see how much that hurts us. We lost out on 2 points there, but we do have 4 pine cones. Our Bigfoots score 5 points each as long as they are not adjacent to each other, either orthogonally or diagonally, and are not in the same column or row. So you have to plan ahead for the Bigfoots a little bit. So that earns us 10 points. Our pine cones are a point apiece, so that is 4 points. And our total there is 44. Wow, we did really good. Yay, we made our 38-point goal, so won that one. So that is how the Campfire Tales cubes work. Again, they work the same way in the multiplayer game, and that is when you pick one up, you have the option of putting it on your board just like it is shown on, just how you picked it up, or you can re-roll it one time for free, and if you don't like what you got, you can spend a pine cone. So anyway, that was a fun game. I like those Campfire Tale cubes. We really enjoyed playing these 4-person game. They were just a lot of fun for that. Add a little bit of push your luck to the game, a little bit of variability, and the campfire cubes or the campfire mementos are a little bit of a risk, right? That's a little push your luck because if you take them early in the game, you really have to work towards pine cones. And we had one game where towards the end, I looked out there because my mom and my partner each had a campfire. And I looked out there and there were no more pine cones for them to take. They were stuck with what they were stuck with. I don't remember what they scored on them, but they didn't have the opportunity to get more. And these Campfire Tales cubes don't have pine cones on any of their sides. So there's that. Anyway, that was our playthrough of Chapter 2, Mission 5. I'm not doing a review in this video because I did that in the last video, but I will say that this mission was pretty interesting with its restrictions on how you could place its mountain blocks. And I'm really looking forward, like I said, in one of the comments on the Kickstarter comments page, I think it was Mary said something about integrating the mountain blocks into the multiplayer game. So I'm really curious about that because I just think these mountain blocks are a lot of fun. Anyway, if you have any questions, put them in the comments down below, or if you have any comments, or if this is further into the future and you have played this game, let me know what you think. And other than that, that is all I have for you. So I will see you in the next one. Bye.